Neil, you're not that high.
Pretty high.
No, it's not, Neil.
It is.
The cat did it.
That's true.
Mate, stay calm. We do this all the time.
Okay, I'm gonna do it.
You'll be fine.
Take your feet back!
Sometimes only a real person will understand.
Hello, Amy.
Hi. I've been in a bit of an accident.
Do you need any emergency services?
No, I think we've got that covered.
Luckily, you can speak to someone at AAMI 24/7.
When I played professional footy, it was all about the training and what I ate. Champions don't run on junk food. So if you want to get the most out of your game and your life, you've got to put the right stuff in. Don't undo all your hard work with what you eat and drink. And after a game, think fruit and water. When the whistle blows, make sure you finish with the right stuff.
Real Guys, Real Sport, Bar TV.
Team cut. Okay, well, let's go through the Canberra side as they'll take to the field here this afternoon. At fullback, we have Tom Rudiger. On the wings is Junior Vaticani and also Jake Wheeler. The centre pairings of Tyler Stevens and Cody Medway. The 6 and 7 is Michael Picker and Mark Herbert. The back rowers for Canberra, Sam Conlon, Ben Picker, Aaron McInnes, Joseph Picker, Ben Carmont, Blake Hewitt. The interchange of Chris Thorley, Josh Ayres, Scott Rotland, Sione Tara, and the 18th man on the bench will be Michael Dodson if they need to use him. The Newcastle squad at fullback is Steve Waitford. On the wings is Marcel Ikanofo and also Callum Richardson. The 3 and 4 is Jared Edwards and Steve Gordon. The 6 is Scott Briggs. Now, we understand that Brad Murray has a broken hand, but he's going to play this afternoon for the Newcastle Rebels with a broken hand. A phenomenal effort. Jade Porter will drop onto the bench in jersey number 18. In jersey number 8 for Newcastle is Brendan Simpson. Chris Adams in 9, Brendan Hallett in 10, Joe Schmiedel in 11, Dylan Harton to 12, and the 13 from Western Suburbs Rosellas is Warren Shillings. The interchange from Newcastle looks this way. Chris Hyde in 14, Tama Kupu in 15, Blake Gallen in 16, Matt Herman in 17, and we understand, not confirmed, because it's a bit chaotic here, Jade Porter will go to jersey number 18. So it will be the Newcastle side going from right to left on your screen. Peter Jolly in the open air commentary box here at Camden doing this one solo here this afternoon as the Newcastle Rebels looking to edge their way into the grand final of 2015. Can they do it? Or will the might of Canberra overpower them? We'll find out in the next 80 minutes, so stay with us. We're in for a classic encounter. This is the Tier 1, first of 2. Down to the 30-metre line. Of course, Canberra coached by Simon Wolford. Canberra veteran, really, isn't he? Played for Canberra Raiders from 1994 to 2006. 234 games for the Canberra side. Played for St George after a stint with the Raiders for 2 years. Played over 28 games as Canberra on the attack. 10 metres out from the line, McInnes. He's close to the goal line. 5 metres away from the Newcastle line. Here comes Canberra, searching for first points. Here's the kick into the in-goal area. Waitford has lost the football. It'll be interesting to see what the referee says. He's grounded it. Well, Newcastle let off the hook there. The Maitland captain has saved the day for Newcastle. So what a start. Electrifying stuff for Canberra. Incredible stuff here. So the referee now is going to reverse his decision, I think you'll find. So we're going to have a goal line dropout. So more pressure coming up here for the Rebels. They're under the pump. 1.5 minutes gone here at Kirkham Park in Camden. We'll kick the ball downfield off the boot of the Rebels, Scotty Briggs. And bringing it back now is Conlon. He's been picked up and driven into the ground there from the South Newcastle prop in Simpson. Back there now to Hewitt. He's 12 metres away from the goal line. Away this time now to Picker. Canberra pressing down to the 10-metre line of Newcastle. The winner of this one will play the winner of Illawarra in the Central Coast. Back to McInnes. They find it hard to put him on his back. He stands in the tackle. Back to Picker. Away this time to Michael Picker. He'll score the first try for Canberra. Well, from one Picker to the other, it was a Picker-a-thon. First try. Well, Newcastle, they've been under the pump. They trail 4-0. Aaron Sheldrick joins me in the commentary box this afternoon. What a start for Canberra.
Yeah, it looks like they've had the ball for that time and started to move her around a bit and, yeah, got over the line.
Well, Canberra, a really strong Canberra side with a lot of NRL experience. 460 games of NRL experience amongst them. And over 200 clashes in Super League as well. We'll go through the side shortly who have got the NRL experience, but Michael Picker, of course, he's a former Raider. He was down with Canberra for 2 seasons. He's 25 years of age. Herbert's the captain, of course, in 7. Here's the kick, looking to convert the try. They've converted it, so what a start for Canberra. After 6 minutes here on the Country Rugby League scoreboard, they lead Newcastle by 6 points to 0. 3.5 minutes gone here. And I was just mentioning, Mark Herbert, captain of Canberra, former Raider, played 23 games for them between 2008 and 2010. He went across to Bradford Bulls in 2011. Joseph Picker as well. We all know Joseph. Over 110 games for Canberra. And also played a handful of games for South Sydney when he crossed there in 2014. So Newcastle, they go into this game as underdogs, that's for sure. They know easy beats Canberra. And no doubt Todd Edwards has picked his strongest side to take on Canberra. They'll need to be switched on, Newcastle. And so far, they need to get themselves back into this contest because it's all been Canberra.
Yeah, it looks like Canberra have dominated with so much possession. It's hard to get a roll on for Newcastle. And all that NRL experience is going to come out in this sort of game.
So this is Joseph Picker, picked up there by Schmiedel. Referee says, go back and play it back. Astle, our referee here this afternoon. Andrew Astle officiating in this one. So this is Tier 1. We've already had 2 games so far. And now we see a penalty. A penalty here right in front of the posts. Not back to 10, Newcastle. So they'll take the tap and keep it going. Inching their way closer, aren't they, to the Rebels' goal line. This is Hewitt. Back to McInnes. Wrapped up there by Chris Adams from Lakes United. Back to Herbert. Stepping. Dangerous. They drag him back into his field of play. Away down to Ben Picker. He now finds Michael Picker. Canberra. A metre away from the Rebels' goal line. Back then out to Michael Picker. They'll kick it to the end goal area. Chasers are coming through. Canberra have lost that football. Back out to the 20. Electrifying start for Canberra.
Yeah, let's see what they do now, Newcastle, with the ball. They haven't really had the ball for the last 5 minutes. They've probably only had 10% of the possession. So let's see if they can string a couple of sets together.
So the Rebels, they haven't seen much of the football, have they, in attack? This is Simpson playing the ball. Out to their own 30-metre line here at Kirkham Park here in Camden. This is Warren Shillings from the western suburbs, Rosellas. On it comes to Brendan Halad from Cessnock. Now this is Richardson. Goes across field. Selected last year in the country firsts to go across to Hawaii. Now back through the middle of the field. Newcastle, what are their options? First chime inside Canberra's territory on the attack. Back to Briggs. This is Simpson. Now to Adams. Electric from dummy half. Kicking off his left foot. Well, we know he's got a good kicking game in him, but predominantly he's a right foot kicker of the football. But you wouldn't have thought so there. He wanted the kick to go in towards the end goal area, and he was able to achieve it. This is Vaticani. Away this time to Wheeler off the wing. And he'll take the tackle for Canberra. Just outside their own 21-metre line. Comes back to now to Ben Picker. That was flat, and that was forward.
Yeah, big call there, so we'll see what they do from here. This is the opportunity to now put their stamp on the game. Only 30, 40 metres out. So let's see if they get set and see what they do.
So you're watching the Tier 1 semi-final between the Newcastle Rebels and Canberra. Because Newcastle Went down 22 points to 20 to Illawarra in last year's grand final up in Tamworth. Try only minutes out from full time, going to Illawarra. Now Murray with a broken hand, offloading to Gordon. 2 NRL games in his repertoire. Back through the middle of the field they come. This is Harton. Looking to strike back Newcastle. Back to Halad. Harden straight towards the Canberra goal line. Adams, elusive. Out the back to Briggs. Overlap out wide, Waitford. Ball comes out to Edwards. The touch, he puts his flag up. Well, they had the right idea, but the touchline was just their danger there.
Yeah, they seem to sort of cramp themselves into the corner there. They probably could have come back a little bit wider and opened it up, but yeah, these choices are going to see if it plays out.
Because Newcastle's coach for the first time in the country championships is Todd Edwards. He's assisted by Steve Story. Well, the managers for Newcastle is Peter Cornell and John Crooks. Well, the trainers running the water bottles today is Jeff Ladder, Dave Watson and Dave Parsons for Newcastle. Newcastle stayed overnight in Campbelltown at the Macklin Lodge last night. So they're only 20 minutes down the road from Camden to Campbelltown. So the kick will go into touch on the halfway line here at Kirkham Park. This is week 3 of the AAMI Country Championships with Peter Jolly and Aaron Sheldrick here at the Kirkham Park in downtown Camden. Back it comes now to Aaron McInnes. He storms forward and takes the tackle there of Chris Adams. He'll play the ball back now, 21 metres away from the line. Back it comes to Hewitt. They cut out one to find Medway. Good tackle there from Harton. Now this is Picker, one of 3 Picker players. Picker brothers going around for Canberra. This is Michael Picker. Now this is Cody Medway. He runs into Brendan Halad.
Yeah, let's see what they do here. If they can get it wide, they might be a good chance.
This is Ben Picker kicking for his lock forward in Hewitt. I think they're claiming the try, but the referee says no, back out to the 20.
Yeah, he's right on the spot there, so he's made the call.
Because our referee this afternoon is Andrew Astle, I believe. So he's up to impress, I guess, the referee selectors before they make their decision who will take the whistle for the grand final in Mudgee next Saturday afternoon for the Tier 1 as well. So Newcastle, this is the 3rd match here on semi-final day of 2015. We've seen the Tigers defeating the North Coast in the first semi-final by 30 points to 20, while the Riverina boys outplayed the Stars by 14 points. The winner of this will play the winner of our next match at 3 o'clock between Illawarra and the Central Coast. As we see now, Callum Richardson, he's down the sideline. He puts the kick over the top of Rudiger. Oh, the ball's beat everybody.
Oh.
I think Canberra have lost the football. Newcastle might get it back here, 10 metres out from the Canberra goal line.
Yeah, it looks like they should get the ball back. I think he's gone over it and it's popped back out. It's classed as a knock-on, so it looks like they'll get a really good shot now.
Well, they needed it, Newcastle. They were under the pump, haven't they been, for the first 11 minutes here on the CRL scoreboard. You're watching live pitches, thanks to Bar TV and the official partner of the AAMI Country Championships. Of course, AAMI and the CRL. Broadcasting live from the touchline here today. This is Adams. Back to Murray. Cut out past to Gordon. He's close, Gordon. He's held up. So close, yet so far for the Rebels. So back out to the 10 and they'll take the tap. So Steve Gordon from Western Suburbs, Rosella's here in the Newcastle Rugby League competition. This is Dylan Harden. He plays for Lakes United. Wrapped up ball and all there from Cody Medway. Back to Adams. He finds Murray. This is Gordon. A metre out from the touchline. A metre out from the in-goal area as well. Ikanofo sends it back through the middle of the park. Newcastle looking for their first points. This is Adams. He'll kick into the in-goal area. But Ikanofo, he can't get it. The ball goes over the touchline in goal. Back out to the 20 for the Canberra side. 12 minutes gone. Canberra leads 6 points to nil. How do you see the first 12 minutes going?
Yeah, I think Canberra are really dominating in attack and defence. It looks like for some reason they're causing Newcastle to be really cramped and take the blind side on. And it's just not working out at this stage. So another good break.
By Aaron McInnes. Takes a tackle there of Brendan Halad. Now to Conlon. Adams has got him downstairs. Halad's over the top. This is Ben Picker. Away now to Rudiger. Quick hands. Canberra straight through the gap. Drop down from Warren Shillings. 10 metres out from the Newcastle line. Canberra on the attack. Herbert. He finds Hewitt. Rebels back on their goal line. Back to Picker. On his back. Only a metre out. Newcastle desperately hanging on here. Back to Herbert. He'll kick it to the end goal area. Rudiger flying through for Canberra. But Richardson has to batter the ball over the dead ball line. Goal line dropout. 15 minutes gone. Newcastle will get the opportunity once more to defend.
Yeah, it's a great pressure again. That's from a 20-metre tap back at the other end. So they've made a good 80 metres and put pressure on to get the ball back again. So it's great work by the Canberra team.
Week 1, Canberra defeated North Coast by 20 points to 10 in the opening match of the championships on that weekend. So they've had a fortnight to regroup. While for Newcastle, this is their first hit out in the competition. They haven't been together for all that long, the Newcastle Rebels. They've had a fortnight to know one another, but all of these players, they know each other quite well playing in the Newcastle comp. Likewise, Canberra. So a knock on here for Canberra. 10 metres out from the Rebels' goal line. So Newcastle puffing and just... Well, they really know, don't they, that they're in for a solid 80.
I think that's definitely saved them probably another try there. They look like they're all hands on hips and, yeah, they probably needed that break. So now let's see if they can get themselves out of trouble.
Because Newcastle coached by Todd Edwards. First year as coach for Newcastle. In a bit of an assistant role up there with the Cessnock Goannas. This is the Maitland captain chiming in. This is their fullback in Steve Waitford. Came across from New Zealand, Waitford. First season in the Newcastle Rugby League with the Pickers. Played a lot of New South Wales Cup for the New Zealand Warriors. Speaking of NRL experience in this Newcastle Rebel side.
Yeah, the ball was stripped there. That's a good call from the touchy on this on the western side.
Yeah, he's given a rare penalty to Newcastle, but they'll take it. Yeah, just getting back to the NRL experience from the Newcastle Rebels. Chris Adams. He's played a handful of games for the first grade for the Newcastle Knights. Played a few seasons for the Knights in the New South Wales Cup under Rick Stone. Made his way back into the Newcastle Rugby League competition 2 seasons ago. Of course, went around in Cessnock colours last year before making the switch to Lakes United for the 2015 real NRL season. This is Kupu. He's from Lakes United. Up towards the top of the ladder in the Newcastle Rugby League competition. Backer comes down to Briggs. Overlap out wide. This is Richardson. Coming back on the inside. Links up there with Edwards. And the Goanna will play the ball 2 metres out from the Canberra line. Waitford, he'll go to dummy half. He finds Scott Briggs. He finds Shillings. And Shillings takes the tackle there of Medway. Now to Adams. Electric. Away this time to the 11 in Schmiedel. He plays for the Macquarie Scorpions. Last tackle now for Newcastle. Look for the kick into the in-goal area. Where's it going to come now? Back it comes off the boot of Murray. They'll kick it towards the in-goal area. Didn't quite make the in-goal area. Canberra cut it off there from Michael Picker, and he's going to play the football there. Aaron 10 metres out from his own goal line.
Yeah, a bit of a poor decision, that kick. I think they probably should have just maybe put it into the in-goal and try and get a repeat set. But yeah, we'll see how they go here to try and pin Canberra down.
Well, the first 20 minutes, it's gone pretty fast, hasn't it?
It has. It hasn't missed a beat. I think Newcastle are probably lucky at this stage not to have a few more points against them. I think if they've really got to try and string some sets together.
So the kick splits the fullback and the winger, heading towards touch. Richardson's got Waitford at the back. He's played a number of positions for the Maitland Pickers over the last 8 rounds of competition up in Newcastle. He started his campaign for the Pickers at fullback, and then they had a change of coach. Noel Dent had to resign for family reasons, and the new coach has actually put him into 5/8. But Todd Edwards has put him back at fullback. That was a good tackle, led there by Scott Rutland. Back it comes now to Adams. The Sixers with it. This is Briggs. Away to Herman. He's off the interchange bench in 17. Adams. Away this time to Briggs. Splitting the fullback and the winger.
Yeah, it's a good kick.
Vaticani in trouble. Scott Briggs cleans him up. Assisted there by Jared Edwards. Just on his own goal line. Now this is Rudiger, the fullback for Canberra. Chiming in. Taken down there from Richardson. So the Newcastle defence swarming in.
Yeah, it looks like Newcastle are starting to settle in a bit now. I think they're starting to find their rhythm, and their defence is really showing through now. It doesn't look like they're tiring as easy, so hopefully they can string that together for the whole next 20 minutes.
So they're going to kick well inside their own 30, Canberra. Waitford going away to pick up the dribbling ball. Edwards gets it from Waitford. And Blake Hewitt, the lock forward, wraps him up, ball and all. So the Newcastle side on their own 40-metre line. Adams again. Now to the halfway line. Halad.
Yeah, fair call. Too long holding down there. They need that roll on when they can for Newcastle. So it's a good call by the ref.
Yeah, Brendan Halad, he always likes to get up and play it quite quickly. We know that from what he can do in the prop region, playing for his local side, the Cessnock Goannas. So Scotty Briggs aims towards the touchline and finds it. 21 metres out from the Canberra goal line. This is Herman. Takes the tackle there of Tarka. Now to Adams. Back to Briggs. On it comes to Brendan Halad. Now Chris Adams again in a dummy half. Away to Shillings. Now to Murray. Waitford. Michael Picker over the top. Chris Adams. Kupu. Back to Adams. He sees a gap. The try line's in front of him. Waitford's got it. Quick hands. Back to Halad. He'll be hard to stop, but it's gone forward.
Yeah, it looks like he's made the call that the ball's travelled forward. So unfortunate for Newcastle. They look like they were on a bit of a roll there. So.
The credit to Canberra's defence as well. Been able to stop the Newcastle side from opening up their can on the scoreboard, I guess. 10 metres away from the Canberra goal line. So the winner of this match will play the winner of our next match between Illawarra and the Central Coast. But it's all Canberra. After 22 minutes, Newcastle had their opportunities. But Simon Wolford's man, equal to the challenge thus far. They go out wide. This is Vaticani. He's down the sideline. He comes to Waitford and they bundle him towards touch. And they push him over.
Great tackle.
Well, probably a try-saving tackle as well, as Richardson was coming across, assisted by the Maitland captain in Waitford.
Yeah, good defence from Newcastle again. Definitely a try saver there. I think if he got past that, the fullback there, he would have definitely been in.
So not a bad crowd in here as well. You can see the spectators just hanging off the new black fence we've got here at Kirkham Park here in Camden, as Callum Richardson just goes across to the eastern side to give the ball back to the Rebels, who will put the ball into the scrum 20 metres out from their own goal line here. This is Ikanofo. This is Dylan Harton from Lakes United. Now to Adams. Well, they're up quickly on him. They know he's very dangerous. As I said, he loves to get that burrow available at every opportunity that he can sneak from dummy half. But just another tiny knock-on creeping into the match.
Yeah, it's going to put Canberra in a good position to have another shot at them. They're 55 metres out with 6 tackles up their sleeve, so let's see what they can do. I think that's unfortunate for Newcastle. They were starting to get a few sets strung together, so now they're going to have to defend again.
So Picker, former Raider, 25 years of age, spent 2 seasons with Canberra. This is Mark Herbert, the captain. Play for the Bradford Bulls as well over in the Super League. This is Aaron McInnes down to the 20-metre line. Now to Blake Hewitt. Herman. Now this is Joseph Picker. One of the most experienced out there, I guess. 110 games with the Canberra Raiders. This is Michael Picker. Last tackle now for Canberra. What are they going to do? Will they dribble it? Will they kick for their winger? They're going to kick for their flying winger. Richardson goes up, comes down for Canberra.
I think that'll be a try.
Referee consulting with his touch judges. Second try for Canberra in the corner. Well, Newcastle under the pump. 25 minutes gone. They trail 10 points to 0.
Yeah, and that all came from that knock-on from Newcastle, 55 out. So that really stings a team when they're trying to string a few together, and kick for the wings resulted in a try.
We'll soon see on the replay how it unfolded. Well, we expected the kick. We know Canberra love to chance their arm, love to chance the air as well. Just keep an eye on the well-placed kick there from the captain in Herbert. Winger was onside, came down to Joseph Picker, and he was on the spot. And the former Raider and South Sydney Rabbitoh, don't forget that. He played 11 games for Souths, but 110 games for Canberra. Plenty of experience, 27 years of age as well, back in the Canberra competition. Here's the kick. Eastern side, 5 metres in from touch. Unsuccessful. So on the CRL scoreboard, we've had 26 minutes of the first half. It's all Canberra. They lead by 10 points to 0.
Yeah, I think if, by the look of it, from what we've seen, if Canberra stay patient and hold the ball, I think they'll continue to dominate unless Newcastle can try and string a few sets together. But there's a long way to go.
14 to go in this half. So we've got 55 minutes to go in the match. The kick goes deep down to the 10-metre zone of the Canberra side. Simon Wolford. They got off to a slow start. You might remember a few weeks ago when they played North Coast. They came good late. But it's the opposite here this afternoon against Newcastle. They advance it towards the halfway line. Halad gets off Rutland. Back to Picker. This is Medway. Put away there by Blake Gallen from Macquarie Scorpions. Ben Picker sends it away to Scott Rutland. Ben Picker. Back to Michael Picker. Last tackle. Newcastle go up and take the ball. Did well there, Ikanofo. Comes out of Lakes United in the real NRL. In Newcastle, this is Richardson. Waitford. Third tackle, Canberra. Putting them well inside their own 30-metre line. This is Steve Gordon from Western Suburbs, Rosellas. This is Adams. 8 short of the halfway line. 10 points to 0 Canberra over Newcastle. They'll need a good kick here, Newcastle. Straight down to Tom Rudiger at the back. He's had a busy game at fullback. He's been everywhere for them. Marmont finding Jake Wheeler. Halad assists him. Now to Marmont again, chiming in. Dylan Harton clutching at his left shoulder. This is not good for Newcastle. Dylan Harton from Lakes United in all sorts of trouble for the Rebels.
Yeah, he's not well. Might have been just a bit of a stinger right on the tip, but doesn't look too good. He's making his way back into the defensive line, so hopefully he can help hold him out. He's back into a tackle now, so...
He's a tough gladiator. 12 metres away, Canberra. On the attack again. Josh Ayres. Halad gets off him. Picker. Michael Picker. Away to Medway. Rebels on their goal line. Trailing by 10. Herbert. Away to Rudiger. He takes the line on. He flicked it out the back. Came off a Canberra hand, I think you'll find. Newcastle should get the ball here 5 metres out from their own goal line.
Yeah, he looked like he forced a pass off the ground there a little bit. So, yeah, maybe one he probably could have held and they still had a roll on. So, yeah, a little bit early to be throwing that sort of ball.
So time off will stop the clock with about 30 seconds gone here and 7 seconds. As we mentioned, Newcastle have 5 NRL games against them, I guess, between Gordon and Chris Adams. But as we said, 460 games plus in the Canberra squad. You can't beat that sort of experience at this level either.
No, definitely can't, especially when it gets a little bit tough and need to dig deep. That NRL experience will really shine through, especially if Newcastle are lacking that or don't have as much. I think that'll come through. If not this week, definitely next week.
And Simon Wolford, we can't forget the coach of Canberra, made his debut for the Raiders back in 1994. Left the club in 2006 and played over, I think it was 234 games for Canberra before making his way to St. George, didn't he? Yeah.
Great player for Canberra, definitely.
So he knows a thing or two.
Well, his experience will shine through as well with the tactical side of the team. And, yeah, you can't go wrong with that sort of experience on the field and off the field.
Well, they knew they were going to get a physical encounter, Newcastle, coming in here today. The new coach, Todd Edwards, he said to us throughout the week that the undertag dog, Tag, I guess, sat well with him because they knew that they were going to be in this from the get-go, and haven't they just been doing that from the get-go? This is Brendan Halad from Cessnock. Now to Chris Hyde, finding himself in a dummy half. Back away to Murray. Quick hands, effective hands. Schmiedel out wide, finds Richardson. He's got Gordon. Oh, he's lost that football.
Another mistake from Newcastle there. Just when they're getting a roll on, they seem to make those little mistakes that are really costing the team. Now another set of defence.
They're only 10 down. That's the good thing.
Yeah, they've done well really to keep it to 10. I think they've still just plenty of time left in this game. They've just got to hold the ball and make those small decisions.
This is Rutland. Away to Ayres. He crosses the halfway line for the Canberra side. 9 minutes to go in the first half. Tarka. Cleaned up by Herman. Back to Rutland. Down to the Newcastle 20-metre line. Picker. Away to Herbert. Great hands over the back. He'll call
Forward
this one up,
pass.
forward
Yeah,
pass, was
I
it?
think might have been a touchy's call or the ref's call, but yeah, I think he got it right there. It did look like it might have floated forward slightly. So again, Canberra, if they string it together as well, they probably go over there again. They're really dominating this game, I think, in defence and attack.
Aaron, I guess you've had a lot to do with the referees in this part of the world.
Yeah, currently the president from the Group 6 Referees Association. So our competition here is very strong, and the referees from juniors through to seniors is really strong. The numbers are good, so we're lucky. Not all associations from country rugby league are like that, so we're definitely lucky. We've got a really good competition and a good group executive that we work well with. So
A small mistake here could turn into a massive mistake for Marcel Ikanofo from Lakes United. Well, uncharacteristic so far here from the Rebels.
yeah, they seem to be their worst enemy here with holding the ball. I think now again they've got to defend from 10 out. Tough job with this Canberra team.
Herbert. That came off a Newcastle hand.
Certainly did.
Referees might say play on, he
Yeah,
does.
I think he's got it right there, and he's called 6 more, so he's right on the spot there. It's a good call.
Yeah, spot on there from Astle, our man in the middle here today. We're calling from the touchline, and we were able to see that. So if we can see it from here, he's going to see it better from where he is. I'll tell you. I'll give you the tip. This is Ayres, 4 metres out from the line. This is Ben Picker. Short ball. That came off a Newcastle hand again, but
I think he's called a double knock on there. He might be looking to give the ball to Newcastle on this one, I think. It might have been a Canberra knock on first.
you're spot on there. So a scrum will pack down, 10 metres out. Rebels dodged a bullet, one might say, leading into half-time. So it's a scoreless first half of football here for Newcastle. In the first 34 minutes as well. The winner goes through to meet the winner of Illawarra and the Central Coast, which will be our next match. This is our third game. We've been here calling rugby league and watching fine athletes in the country rugby league competition since 10 a.m. this morning. Here's another mistake for Newcastle. Errors will come back and bite them.
Yeah, they're really putting themselves under the pump here. They've just really got to hold the ball, good kick, and try and, again, I keep saying, string some sets together. But now, again, they're 20 out, and they're going to have to defend again.
Of course, there's a break in the Newcastle Rugby League competition this week and next week to allow these games to go through to Mudgee. As the ball now comes through the hands of Michael Picker. Then the 25-year-old is wrapped up 10 metres away from the Newcastle goal line. Ben Picker. Rutland. Cleaned up there from Chris Hyde. Ben Picker. Away to Herbert. Another try.
Great ball.
Ben Marmont has scored the third try for Canberra. And Newcastle, well, they're shell-shocked.
That was a great ball. He just took the line on and could have drove a truck through the gap. So, great ball, great try.
And it was just building, wasn't it? Momentum was building. The attack was just going to be the order of the day. And Marmont, the 12, the second rower, just stormed his way through the defence, as you're about to see shortly on the Bar TV replay. And this is it right now. Check this out. Picker, short ball. There's the gap. And Ben Marmont, he's no stranger to scoring a try in his local competition, and he's picked up an all-important one here today. And this is the lead-up work as well. They could have went left, but no, they thought they'd come right. Picker, with all his Raiders experience, finding Ben Marmont, and over the white chalk he goes.
Yeah, again, great ball. It just took the line on, and the line, opened right up there. So it was a great try.
The kick now from Ben Picker. Looks good. It's a ripper. 16 points to nil. Canberra over Newcastle. 4 minutes out from half time.
Yeah, I think Newcastle will be looking forward to that break. I think they need to regroup and probably start again. It's been a bit of an ordinary half by Newcastle. They've got to hold the ball.
Back to the halfway line for the recommencement of play. Deep kick-off goes down to the goal line, and Canberra storming back as Matt Herman wraps up Rutland. Well, it's a strong lineup for Canberra. Plenty of good, solid combinations. And plenty of confidence derived from the victory over
A bit of a lost ball there. Looks like
North Coast.
maybe Newcastle might be able to put some points on the board in the next 2.5 minutes. See how they go.
Well, they needed this reprieve from the Canberra attack, didn't they? And they're about to see what they've got leading into the break. This is Gallen. He's wrapped up 20 metres away from the Canberra goal line.
Yeah, good penalty there. He's got to keep his hands off him after that.
Well, they don't want to slow the momentum down here, Newcastle. This is Halad. This is Chris Hyde with the ball. Away to Murray. Broken hand and all. Phenomenal effort. This is Herman. Can they crack? Going into half-time. Back to Hyde. This is Gordon. A metre out. Hyde again. Murray. Kupu. Taking him sideways before he was able to straighten himself up and play the football back to Hyde. Away to Briggs. Dangerous. Here's a gap out wide. Can they offload it? They may not need to offload it. Edwards is close.
Great try.
Edwards has scored the first try for Newcastle. Just before half-time, they're back in the match. 16 points to 4.
That was a great try. It looks like you got an injured player down there. He doesn't look too good at all. Looks pretty crook.
We might stick with the replay here. He is in all sorts of trouble for Canberra. Hasn't moved. I think we're going to have a pretty long stoppage here. This player, we're trying to identify him. Big concern as we go to the replay, and we'll come back to that. But this is Jared Edwards from Cessnock, who was able to do it all so easy for Newcastle.
Oh, he doesn't look good there at all. Number 11 for Canberra, it looks like.
Joseph Picker. Joseph Picker.
I think he might have got his neck in a really bad position there where he made the tackle if we watch the replay. I think his head might be right underneath the weight of number 3 from Newcastle.
We believe it's Joseph Picker who's hurt for Canberra, number 11. And he's just sort of collapsed on his back. Now, this is a big moment in the match. Big concern. There is movement at the moment.
There's plenty of league safe out there. I'm sure it'll be fine.
So time off here. We're just trying to get confirmation to see if that was Joseph Picker. We might roll the replay once more just to make sure we're correct in saying that, because I know a lot of his family and friends will be watching this match. So we'll just keep an eye on the Canberra man on the inside here, about to come into the screen. He's coming across now to make the tackle.
Looks like he might have just got himself in a very awkward position over the top there.
Yeah, Joseph Picker there. Still down in the in-goal area. He's sort of fallen awkwardly, hasn't he, as he's got into that tackle, and then in double trouble as he was trying to regain himself, and then he's just done like a backward flip, as you
Yeah.
said, probably a little bit unconscious.
Yeah, I definitely. Yeah, he wasn't. He was crook.
He's still there, he's on the left-hand side of the screen, so the trainer is still out there with him. But our thoughts go out to...
He's up on his feet now, so that's a good sign, really good sign. They've got him up on his feet, so that's a great sign. Always worry when necks and heads are involved and unconscious. It's a very big concern, but it looks like he's up on his feet, which is great.
There he is there. He'll come off. No way that
Oh, he'd have to, yeah.
he'd be able to stay out there.
I don't think he'd know where Camden is at the moment, I think.
More like Disneyland.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the kick is unsuccessful here from the Newcastle Rebels. The halftime siren, that has gone in the background. And there he is on screen right now, Joseph Picker. 27 years of age. 110 games for the Canberra Raiders. Played 11 matches for the South Sydney Rabbitohs last year. But that's a very good sign for family and friends and his teammates and the coaching staff and the CRL in general to know that Joseph Picker is now walking on his own, assisted there from the touch judges behind him and also the trainers next to him. Of course, the trainers of Ernie Maclay and Alan High and Ian Barker. So there's the Rebels. It's all in front of those guys in the second half here in the T1 semi-final. They're down by 16 points to 4. And Todd Edwards there in the middle of the screen. Just saying, guys, we're in this. We've just got to do the simple things right. And hopefully we'll get on the back end of Canberra in the next 40 minutes. So what we might do now, we'll take a break with these images of Canberra in their own in-goal area, having a chat there to Simon Wolford. They are their coach. And we'll return for the next 40 minutes here on the CRL feed, coming live out of Kirkham Park here in Camden. So a break and back for the second 40 between Newcastle and Canberra.
Neil, you're not that high.
Pretty high.
No, it's not, Neil.
It is.
The cat did it.
That's true.
Mate, stay calm. We do this all the time.
Okay, I'm gonna do it.
You'll be fine.
Take your feet back!
Sometimes only a real person will understand.
Hello, Amy.
Hi. I've been in a bit of an accident.
Do you need any emergency services?
No, I think we've got that covered.
Luckily, you can speak to someone at AAMI 24/7.
When I played professional footy, it was all about the training and what I ate. Champions don't run on junk food. So if you want to get the most out of your game and your life, you've got to put the right stuff in. Don't undo all your hard work with what you eat and drink. And after a game, think fruit and water. When the whistle blows, make sure you finish with the right stuff.
Authorized.
Real guys, real sport. Bar TV.
We're back for the second 40. 16 points to 4, Canberra. It's anyone's ball game. A try on the bell to Newcastle has got them back into the match. 12-point ball game. Back in the box, media officer for the Group 6, Mike Sheen. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Pete, once again. Good afternoon, everybody. Interesting match, this one. Canberra, I'm not quite sure what to make of the Canberra halftime talk. Newcastle would be buoyed by the fact they got the points late in the first half on the siren. But, yeah, Canberra certainly been the dominant side. A couple of quick tries early in the first half to really set this game up, and they're looking certainly the dominant of the two teams at the moment. But if Newcastle can get back into the game, then it's there to be taken.
Well, speaking to the coach of Newcastle throughout the week, Todd Edwards, he said that if they can get past Canberra, they could possibly get past next weekend. So they're 40 minutes to go to get past Canberra before they even have to think about the next match. And, of course, our next clash is Illawarra versus the Central Coast. In the last decade of AAMI Country Championships have been shared, I guess, between the likes of Illawarra and the Newcastle region. Just goes to show the depth and the structures that the Country Rugby League in that part of the world have. And of course, a lot of players drop back from the NRL into the Newcastle competition as well. And likewise, they start their careers and progress up through the junior ranks of the real NRL. So the Rebels, this is Brendan Halad. Rutland over the top to assist in the tackle from Canberra. Outside the 40, Murray. Kicking downfield over the top of Rudiger. Going back to his own in-goal area, goes there, fullback. And he can't get rid of Josh Schmidl and Jared Edwards. Got a bit of blood coming from the nose there of Tom Rudiger as he was getting up to play that football, Aaron.
Yeah, he'll have a bit of probably get a bit of attention now from the medical staff, but he'll certainly be looking to continue with his. And he had a reasonable first half as well, Rudiger. He certainly a couple of good runs there, so we'll be looking to continue that in the second half.
So Canberra outside their own 40. This is Ben Picker. Goes down to Waitford. Looks up and gives it away to Marcel Ekanofo. As we mentioned, if you just tuned to the coverage, he plays for Lakes United. What a season they're having in the local Newcastle Rugby League competition. Leading the way. In the top two anyway. Had a run of 4 or 5 victories in a row. A lot of good judges were saying that they were probably going to find themselves on the bottom end of the ladder. Well, that's gone out the window. This is Iconofo again. Playing it back. Now to Murray. Last tackle here for Newcastle. Rudiger, exceptional catch, considering the circumstances that was in front of him there. Now he's away. He had the sun right in his eye line, and he's made it back here. Mike out towards his own 30-metre line.
That was a brilliant run from Rudiger. He had no right to get past the Rebels' defence, but he not only got past them, but got into open space and out to the 30. That was a brilliant run from the Blues fullback.
Conlon. Halad gets off him.
I just mentioned Sam Conlon, an or has had some time here in Group 6, so a lot of the locals will know Sam Conlon. I think he had some time at Oakdale a few years back when they won a premiership under Brendan Reeves.
There you go. Facts of the day from Mike Sheen, always giving us a good insight into the Country Rugby League Encyclopedia. And we've got more to come for the next 37 minutes as well. We'll delve into Mike's facts box shortly. Back then out of Picker. Uh-oh, here's a mistake, I think. Referee's just saying get up and play the ball. So time back underway. This is Michael Picker going out wide. They're inching their way close, aren't they, to the Newcastle Rebels goal line for the first time in the second half. Ben Picker gives it away to Josh Ayres. Met and put away there from Blake Gallen from Macquarie Scorpions. 4 minutes gone, second half, leading by 16 points to 4. Ben Picker's with it. Out the back it comes to Herbert. Dangerous, elusive. Hewitt gone backwards. They've got to go away and pick it up through Rudiger. He's lost the football, Rudiger. 30 metres out from the Newcastle goal line.
Well, that was Keystone Cops material there. That was all over the place, and I think Canberra very lucky to come away with a scrum feed 10 out from the Rebels line, but they really didn't. It built up nicely, but they just blew it at the key opportunity, and they really need to regroup here. Mark Herbert, plenty of first-grade experience, along with the Picker boys, Trevor Thurling. In fact, Thurling not there today, but plenty of experience in the Canberra side as they try and break through this Rebels defence.
Michael Picker, Ben Picker. We nearly got the trifecta, but unfortunately this is Sam Conlon. Well, fortunately for him, he's got the football. Back it comes now to Ayres. We haven't had the picker yet. I'm looking for that. Maybe that's the next try. Unfortunately, Herbert's dropped it. Newcastle come away with it, and they are downfield. Schmiedel picked up and driven into Kirkham Park's lush turf. Trouble for Canberra. Player down on his own 20-metre line.
Yeah, we've got a player down in back play for Canberra, just trying to pick up who that is. But he's in a world of hurt right now, and big run there from the Rebels as they take it up towards the 40. And we've got time off now for that injury.
Yeah, time off here. We'll stop the clock just shy of the 6-minute mark here. Mike?
Yep. You were talking about the Pickers before, the Picker brothers. I thought they would have fitted in quite nicely at Maitland.
They would have. Maybe a pumpkin in between them as
That's
well.
right.
Then we would have had the perfect combination. Maybe that's their middle name.
I don't know.
Hey, maybe we'll find out. Michael Pumpkin Picker. Maybe not. Maybe not. But yeah, just a little bit of getting the water into the Rebels here.
Yeah.
Still a bit of concern at the back there, as you can see, top left of the screen.
And conditions not too bad this afternoon for first grade football here in Camden. Not too warm, and the players certainly won't be struggling with the weather out there. It's a lovely afternoon, probably a little on the cool side if anything, but they certainly won't be complaining of any heat exhaustion later in the day.
In other words, do we have enough Gatorade to get us through the
I'm sure
afternoon?
we will have plenty.
Good stuff. And we're not too far away from the good old dam out here in western suburbs of Sydney. We're coming live this afternoon, folks, out of Kirkham Park here in Camden. Just about a 15-kilometre ride up the road to Campbelltown, of course, the home of the western suburbs Magpies for plenty of a year before they merged with the Balmain Tigers to form the western suburbs, the Balmain West Tigers anyway. Now, which way will they come this time? This is a great pass here to Waitford, down to the 40-metre line. We've been telecasting here since 10 a.m. and we're still going, which is great to see. Back to the right-hand side. This is Edwards. He's still going, Edwards. He finds Richardson. Richardson gets it back to Schmiedel. He starts the wind-up, and he's been able to wind himself down to the 8-metre line. Last tackle now. Here's the boot off the boot of Briggs. Goes the ball. They're coming through. Canberra go high. They diffuse the situation in the field of play. Nice catch out there. That was Jake Wheeler.
That was a nice take from Wheeler there. Did very well to get up nice and high and above the Newcastle chasing pack and get that kick from Newcastle, which was threatening. And the Rebels put a nice set together there to threaten the Canberra line, but the men in green able to hold on this time and work it out of their own end.
Pictures courtesy of Bar TV out of Newcastle. Of course, Bar TV setting a record today as far as rugby league goes as well. Broadcasting 4 matches back to back to back to back. because we've covered plenty of rugby union carnivals over 12 hours a day, but this is the first rugby league championships at this level. Of course, this is Tier 1. As we see now, Edwards from Cessnock slowly to his feet. This is Richardson. Goes for a bit of a scoot from dummy half. Got a good offload in him, as you can see there. Back out the back to Wikanofo. Ben Picker assisting. Now this is Hyde. Great ball. Could be a try here. Murray goes the line, broken hand and all.
Had to keep going.
How he's still out there is beyond belief.
Had to keep running when he got through the line.
Herman finding Gordon, kicking for himself. Gordon saying, did that come off Canberra? I think he's got a good case here before the High Magistrate Court. Yes, he's won it.
Wins the case.
Well, there you go. Well, you would have liked to have had a bit on that.
Yeah, protest upheld. And the Rebels, this is a good chance for them if they can score here. We've had about 9 minutes in the second half. If the Rebels can score here to get back to 16-8 or 16-10, they're certainly well in this game. And up against the Canberra side, who will have plenty of experience in their side, they will be hard to get past as the Rebels win the scrum.
Picked up by Briggs. Briggs has actually tackled a Raider player here.
Penalty to Canberra it is.
Well, I haven't seen that in the game of rugby league for forever. I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like that.
No.
Can we have a replay of that, Mr. Producer?
I think the Canberra player's in a bit of trouble here. Just quietly, I think he's in a bit of trouble after that play the ball.
Well, Scotty Briggs, he's from South Newcastle Lions, has given away a penalty, but I'm not worried so much about the penalty just yet. I just want to see what happened. Look at this, one-on-one tackle.
Yeah.
Got up, told the bloke to get a tackle you head first into the ground, he went.
Yeah, and Andrew Astle correctly giving the penalty, in my opinion, to Canberra. You can see the 5'8" for Newcastle. Scott Briggs trying to protest his case. What was I supposed to do, sir? But there was no need for him to pick up the player like that and drop him on his shoulder. So I think the referee got that absolutely spot on. And good decision. Canberra get the penalty about 10 metres out from their own line. And they will find touch up towards the 30.
A unique moment in rugby league, let alone here in the AAMI Country Championships of 2015. You don't see that every day. Probably won't see that for another week now as it comes back then out of the 40-metre line. As we see our referee just telling Newcastle to get back with him. That is, of course, Andrew Astle. 16 points to 4. Canberra. Are they about to head off to the grand final in Mudgee? Or will Newcastle overtake them on the freeway? We're about to find out. 32 minutes to go in the second half. This is Medway. Now to Thorley. Runs into Newcastle's South Newcastle Lions prop in Brendan Simpson. Back to Picker. Now this is Michael Picker going high to the air. Waitford coming through.
Oh, no communication there from Newcastle.
Well, Waitford hasn't got it back. It's on the ground. Play on. Last tackle now for Canberra. Out wide it comes to Stevens. He beats one. He needs to offload it. He does offload it. Great ball. They may need to offload it again. Out the back it comes. Back to Rudiger. He'll kick it. Back to Newcastle's Adams. Well, we've seen everything in rugby league right there.
We certainly haven't. I think we've got to whistle one of the Canberra players down in back play, but that had everything. Harlem Globetrotters would have been proud of that piece of play. Plenty of tricks and moves in that one, but it all ended up for naught for the Canberra side. Newcastle bring it out of their own end. I think Canberra were a little unlucky. Could have had a knock-on against Newcastle there when the first bomb went up, but referee are still ruling against them as the Rebels now bring it out of their own end through Chris Adams.
To his 30-metre line. This is Warren Shillings. Met there by Thorley. Penalty to Newcastle. 40 metres out from their own goal line. Well, this is what they need, Newcastle, to somehow get back up the other end and show everybody what they've got.
They certainly do need to find some territory as the kick finds touch inside the 40 up towards the 30 of the Canberra side, and they'll be looking to try and run a couple of plays to find a way across the line. Have they got something in store? They'll take it one out and almost through the line.
This is Schmiedel, 20 metres out from the Canberra line. Newcastle will get another penalty right in front. Time off here. He's going to call over a few Canberra players. He doesn't want Adams to come over yet. He just wants one-on-one with Canberra.
You could see the Canberra player holding the boot of the Newcastle player there as he tried to get the quick play the ball, and referee Astle said no, he held him for too long and that's a penalty, and the Rebels take the tap and go quickly.
Brendan Simpson's with the football. Back to Adams. Away to Briggs. Good ball to Edwards. Edwards towards the line. Back to Callum Richardson. Juggle it.
Should have gone himself there, Edwards.
Herbert puts him on his back. Back to Edwards. He goes from dummy half. He's close. He's not close enough for the Rebels to get a try, though. A metre out from the line. Backer comes to Richardson. Way through the middle. Simpson. Great scrambling tackle there from Canberra. This is Adams. Dangerous. 2 metres out. Still going.
Hint of a high tackle. Referee says no.
Last tackle now for the Rebels. Look for the kick. Murray kicking out wide. They're over.
Brilliant.
Ikanofo. He scores for Newcastle. They're back in the match now. 16 points to 8 with a kick to come.
Ikanofo knows how to get across the line. That was a great kick there from Brad Murray, finding Ikanofo on the wing, and Ikanofo did all the work to put it down. The Rebels are back in the 16-8 kick to come with around 28 minutes remaining. This is game on here at Kirkham Park.
Check this out on the replay. Pinpoint kick. And the Lakes United winger, he's no stranger to going high in the Newcastle Rugby League. Check this out from Brad Murray. Broken hand and all. Don't worry about the broken leg. He can still kick. And Ikanofo finishes it off in grand fashion. We've got Matt Harris here today. Over there under the CRL tent, along with a few of his friends that have come down from Newcastle. So, Newcastle back into this one. 12 minutes gone, second half. Of course, the CRL representatives in front of us as well. We've got the chairman, we've got the CEO, we've got the media manager.
We've got
everybody that's important in front of us.
And all the ones that aren't as well.
That's why we're here.
That's right.
2 metres in from that eastern touchline. Here's the kick for Newcastle from right out on the eastern touchline. It looks okay off the boot. Can he bring it back around? No, he can't. So an 8-point ball game here. Second half of the Tier 1 competition. The winner will play in the grand final. The winner of our next match, which will feature Illawarra and the Central Coast. Canberra still up by 8. Don't go anywhere. We've got another 30-odd minutes to go in this one. Rudiger with the restart of play. Sends it deep.
I'd love to know what Simon Wolford's thinking right now. His team in front by 8. Conceded the only try of the second half, and they're almost through again, the Rebels, through Simpson. But I'd love to know what Wolford's thinking right now in the Canberra dugout. He would be... I don't think he'd be too concerned, but he'd certainly be looking for a better defensive effort as Newcastle get up over halfway now from the restart. He will certainly want a better end to the defensive set from his side.
Gallen to Adams. This is when Adams comes into his own in situations like this. Back to Murray. Away to Herman. 5 metres in from that eastern touchline. Now to Murray. Kicking again off his right foot. They go high. Rudiger. Sensational at the back.
Wasn't the cleanest take, but he held on to it. That's the main thing for the Canberra side as they work it out at their own end now through Chris Thorley. But Rudiger looking very good at the back, the Queanbeyan Blues custodian this afternoon.
Now this is Wheeler. Adams. Can he single-handedly get Newcastle back into this match? We know they're a very dangerous combination between Murray, Briggs and Adams. Now you've got the Maitland captain chiming in from the back end, Steve Waitford, when they get Newcastle going. But Canberra, they don't want anything of that. Last tackle now. Where's the kick going to come from? They're going to throw it. They're up quickly. Basketball risky. Pass over the top. It was risky, but it might even be. Play on it is. Play on. Iconofo goes back and has to batter the ball over the dead ball line. More pressure coming up now for the Rebels.
Well, they got away with that one, the Canberra side. That was very dangerous play from the outside backs, and they've been lucky to get the kick in on the end. And Steve Waitford, with his experience in the New South Wales Cup, being able to force that one dead. But the Rebels were forced to get into action there. Canberra, a very, very lucky end to that set for them, and they'll get the ball back for 6 more drop out.
The dropout goes 43 metres on the fly. And Sam Conlon winds his motor up before he's cut down there from Steve Gordon.
He will go all day, Sam Conlon. He has got a big tank, and he will go hard all afternoon for you. So Simon Wolford's got a good one there in the big number 8.
Danger time here for Newcastle. Canberra on the attack. Conlon knocked down from Newcastle. Play on. Medway. He links up now with Marmont. He's over. I think Marmont has scored. Don't worry about the double movement. He's going to give the try. Try to Canberra. Well, it's 20-8.
Well, that changes the whole complexion of the game, I think, with Canberra going in there through Marmont. That's his second, I think, for the afternoon, and that really does put a knife through the heart of the Newcastle Rebels. With still over 20 minutes remaining, they need to find a way back into this game quickly.
Well, Marmont, that's his second try of the afternoon for Canberra. And this is it on the replay. Barging their way, it was knocked down, so that created 6 more tackles for Canberra. And Ben Marmont, he's rolling, and over he goes. So you were quite on the money, but momentum wasn't halted.
No, the momentum was enough. I just thought there may have been a hint of a double movement, but I think Andrew Astle got that by saying that was a momentum effort and fair try to the Canberra side. And I'm sure Simon Wolford will be delighted that they've got that try to give them that 12-point lead once again.
Here's the kick from the sideline. Waved away, so no change to the CRL scoreboard. Canberra leading Newcastle by 20 points to 8 with 23 minutes to go in the match. And this is live pictures out of Bar TV Sports in association with the CRL and, of course, the official partnership. Thanks to AAMI Insurance. They've been big sponsors for the Country Rugby League over plenty of years. And no doubt their association with this top-notch Rugby League carnival will only improve as the years tick on by. So Canberra coming off their own 20-metre line here. Beautiful afternoon for Rugby League from the skies above. Not so much for Newcastle thus far, but we know that they are very quick to get themselves back into the contest, giving them a sniff, giving them opportunity. But Canberra, thus far, are just playing them out of the ballpark, aren't they? With big meters making easy gain up the middle of the field. Now they look towards the touchline and find it here, about 21 metres out from the Rebels' goal line.
That was a great kick from Mark Herbert, the NRL experience showing there, just finding the sideline 20 out from the Rebels' line. And that was almost the perfect set for the Canberra side after their try to take 80 metres for the Rebels to travel. Almost ended perfectly for them, and they will be delighted with where they're at the moment. Around 20 minutes left in this one, and they will be very, very happy with the current situation with a 12-point lead.
Well, Simon Wolford, he was aware that he was able to assemble a really strong team. And if you look through their squad, There's a lot of players, as we said in the first half, with a lot of NRL experience, which I guess it's invaluable during the tournament, especially when you've only got a few sessions to get things right. And that's exactly what Canberra have had. Only a few sessions to get things right. And they got off to a slow start a fortnight ago when they defeated North Coast in the opening match of the championships by 20 points to 10. But things have clicked for them from the get-go here today.
And just looking through their side, they've got 4 or 5 players from Queanbeyan Blues. There's quite a few out of Goulburn as well, a couple from the other clubs. But I guess that would have to be a benefit for Canberra to have these players with regular club connection and experience at a first-grade level. That has to be of significance as we see Newcastle knock on from the scrum and Canberra get the scrum feed on halfway. 15 in from touch on this broadcast side, the western side of Kirkham Park.
Well, they've got the team to win it this year. There's no question about that, Canberra. They've prepared well, and they're in white-hot form. I guess you can have the strongest team possible, but you also need to prepare well and turn up ready to play on the day. And that's what they're focusing on here against Newcastle in the last 20 minutes of this match. Back to Conlon. He's down to the 40-metre line of the Rebels. Now this is Ayres angling it across field. Wrapped up there from Halad. Back there now to Picker. Canberra on the attack. Rudiger chiming in.
Oh, if you got the ball away.
A live wire, isn't he there? Fullback.
Fully in space if he could have got it away.
Now to Rutland off the bench. Back to Picker. Now
Field
to
goal.
Herbert for a field goal from 20 metres out. It looks okay.
Looks
He's
better than
kicked
okay.
it. Another point to Canberra. They lead by 21 points to 8.
And that gives them that 13-point buffer as well. Gives them plenty of breathing room into the last quarter of this match.
Has that knocked the stuffing out of the Rebels?
Goal for Canberra scored by number 7, Mark Herbert. Canberra 21 leading Newcastle 8.
13-point ball game here at Kirkham Park here in Camden. After this one, don't go anywhere. Our last match to wrap up a massive day of telecasting in rugby league. Illawarra will be playing host to the Central Coast, and the winner of this match will take on the winner of our next clash. Thus far, it looks like Canberra could be going away to Mudgee. Newcastle, we can't write them off though. We know that they can come back at the tick of a box, give them possession, but the thing is, Canberra are on a roll, and then they're dominating the middle like this man is right now in Sam Conlon.
They don't even look like getting close at the moment, Newcastle. I don't think they've got a rebel yell in them to give in the last 15 minutes as a nice kick through from Canberra finds the sideline once again. And Canberra just seem to be doing it in second gear at the moment. I'm sure Central Coast and Illawarra will be paying close attention to this. Jamie Forbes and Gary Hart, the coaches of the Centurions in Illawarra, will be paying close attention to this and no doubt getting a copy of the Bar TV broadcast of the match to dissect this for next week's final. But they will have plenty of work to do if they're going to get past this strong team in green.
Big week coming up for rugby league. Got the State of Origin on Wednesday night down at the Melbourne Cricket Ground. Then, of course, we go across to Mudgee on Saturday, the grand final day. And then for our Newcastle Rugby League fans, we head back from Mudgee to Townsend Oval in Merewether for the clash on Sunday, but Newcastle are away. This is Schmiedel running out of support. The support comes back on the left, and Richardson, he goes underneath the post. Well, this might not be all over yet. Richardson certainly thinks it's not. As the try comes up for Callum Richardson, Western Suburbs Rosella's speed man. On the wing for the Rosellas in the real NRL competition. Well, the gap, it's closing in on Canberra.
That is a massive try in the context of this match for Newcastle. It gives the Rebels something. They're 21-12 down. The conversion is successful. 21-14, back to a 7-point margin with only 15 minutes to go as we look at the replay for Bar TV. And a great run there from the second row in Schmiedel. Schmiedel probably could have put his ears back and gone himself. At this point, I thought he made the wrong option. Should have gone for the line himself, but the ball back inside was a nice one. Richardson was there, and smart play from Richardson to bring it around behind the posts to make the conversion much easier. It's now 21-14 and game back on.
And how important was that field goal to Canberra at this point of the match? 7-point margin.
Conversion attempt was successful. Canberra 21,
So back here
Newcastle 14.
at Kirkham Park here in Camden, we have a ball game in the last 15 minutes. The whole of Newcastle getting behind the Rebels right here, lifting them with each surge, with each run. This is Warren Shillings taking the tackle there in Medway. Adams goes left to find Chris Hyde. Medway puts him on the back to Adams, away this time to the 7 in Murray. He goes out wide looking for Gordon. He's got the football, and he's taken the tackle for Newcastle on the halfway line. 7-point ball game here in the Tier 1 semi-final. The winner goes through to Mudgee next Saturday afternoon. Here's the high kick. Where's Rudiger? Can he take this one clean? He can't.
He can't.
Ball comes back for Newcastle. It's play on. Back to Edwards. Rudiger is over the top to collect him. 2 metres out for the
onto
line.
the right.
The Rebels, they'll score in the corner if Richardson can hang on to it. He can't. He's lost the football, Richardson, in the corner.
Oh, what an error from Callum Richardson. It was open for him. All he had to do was hold on to it, as you said. All he had to do was hold on to the ball, and he was in the corner. And the kick would have made it a 1-point ball game, but not to be. The Rebels, that one not to be, but Rudiger with the mistake earlier. He had no idea about that one. He didn't know anything about where that was going. And one of the first mistakes he's made all day from Rudiger. He's had a good game, but that was a poor moment from him. Thankfully for his sake, Canberra come away with it after the error from Richardson and work it out of their own end, 10 out from their own line.
Marmont. That was flat to McInnes. Shillings goes up around the shoulder blades, trying to wrestle for the football. Canberra, 7-point margin. 13 minutes to go in this clash. Winner goes through to the grand final. Loser bows out of the competition. Crossing their 40-metre line. Scotty Briggs is in there to take McInnes into the ground. Back there now to Picker. Outside the 40, this is Michael Picker.
Got a little bit of a doing back play here. Picker objected to that hit being taken. And it was big Brendan Simpson who put one on him, and there was a little bit of jumper grabbing there, but nothing doing out of that.
Waitford. The Maitland Pumpkin Picker at the back, playing it back to the Rosella and Callum Richardson. Vaticani assisting, along with Sam Conlon, the big prop. Plays the football. Newcastle with it through their 6 in Briggs. He finds Schmiedel. He's straight through Schmiedel. He comes down to Rudiger, and Rudiger ankle taps him.
At least that time he made the run himself. That was the right option.
Adams. Away to Murray. Kicking for his winger. Where's Iconofo? Sees the ball go dead in goal. Back out to the 20. Tap restart for Canberra.
Nice option there from the Rebels. Probably the right play there. Schmiedel made a great run. That was what he needed to do the first time he got through the defensive line. That time it was the right option. He put his ears back. The kick was a good one, but Iconofo couldn't get there in time. And the Canberra side will bring it out of their own end. Just over 10 to go.
This is Chris Thorley. Shillings gets off him.
A little bit willing now at the moment. A couple of Canberra players have objected to a few of the tackles from Newcastle.
McInnes. Oh, this is Hewitt.
Wow.
Herman. One-on-one. Very effective. Great pass back to Rudiger. He's away. He got the pass out the back. Herbert kicking. He was taken out.
No, the referee's pulled it up.
Referee has said forward pass.
So obviously the ball from Rudiger to Herbert was forward, and it'll be a Newcastle scrum feed, but Herbert got it away. The ball from Rudiger to Herbert was a nice one, and Herbert got the boot on it, but Andrew Astle ruled the pass was forward. Here's a chance for Newcastle. Can they capitalise inside the last 10 minutes? Can they put it to the Canberra side once again? That field goal could be vital from Mark Herbert.
Waitford stepping, beats one, beats two. Can't get rid of the prop in McInnes, and they're electrifying Canberra Raiders fullback. Assisted there from Medway. Back to Adams. He goes straight through. Well, we said he will be one of the players to get Newcastle back into this clash. Now to Schmidl. Back to Edwards. He's taken the tackle there of Thorley. A nail biter here for the AAMI Country Championships. Back it comes this time to Briggs. Ben Picker gets off him. Back to Adams. There's a gap out here if they can throw the pass. This is what they need to do. This is Waitford. Big palm. Big try about to happen if he can get there.
Short.
2 metres out from the line.
It's onto the short side.
Still on for Newcastle until now.
Offside.
Penalty to Newcastle. Not back on their own goal line, Canberra. So close yet so far there for the Newcastle Rebels. But they're going to have one last. Well, won't be one last crack. They're going to build momentum right here. Where will it come this time? Referee says, guys, come back here. I wasn't ready.
I don't think the Rebels were quite where they were supposed to be. So they get away with a bullet there. Take the tap.
Away to Hyde. He finds Shillings. He's wrapped up. A metre away from the Canberra line. Here come Newcastle. They'll play the ball back to Hyde. He goes left. There's got to be a try coming shortly. This is Gordon. Has he gone all the way? Referee says try. Newcastle have scored. Gordon's over. The Rebels, they're back into the match. Canberra desperately hanging on.
It's 21-18 Canberra, but Newcastle are coming home with a wet sail. Steve Gordon crashing over. Referee was happy that he got the ball down. Might have been a little bit of doubt about that, but referee said it was all good, and the Rebels are alive.
Steve Gordon about to run on it right there, straight towards the gap, and he's got over. They're not going to stop. The Western Suburbs, Rosella, veteran from that close to the try line. And he's got Newcastle back in the match. The Hunter Valley goes up. The CEO of the Newcastle Rugby League goes up. Here's the kick from the sideline. He's converted. What a kick from the sideline. 1 point ball game here. What a game of rugby league. 21-20. Well, that field goal, how important was it for Canberra? The clock still ticking over here as Canberra hanging on desperately. 5 minutes to go on the official scoreboard. So our clock's out by about a minute and a half. So 4.5 minutes to go now as we get the official time here from the CRL officials. Newcastle being pushed back towards their own goal line from Vaticani. Back this time it comes to their own 30-metre line. The Newcastle Rebels 4 minutes away. Can they go the length of the field? Can Canberra hold on? Back to Murray. He finds Herman. 40 metres out from his own goal line. Back to Adams. Dangerous. Great pass. Out the back it comes to Briggs. Oh, they've put it down. Jared Edwards has put it down and he is disgusted with himself on his own halfway line.
Every handling error is so vital right now for both sides. They really need to hold on to possession. If Newcastle can get into field position, they'll certainly look to take the 1 point to level it up at 21 all, but Canberra needing to hold on. The clock running against them. Down to about 3 or 4 minutes right now. And not long to go in this one for both sides.
So the clock has stopped. Time back underway with, we're just getting a true indication, 3 minutes to go on the CRL scoreboard here. Canberra leading by 1 point. The field goal is the difference thus far. This is Tom Rudiger. He's been picked up and driven back towards his own in-goal area. The only thing was, it was 50 metres up the other end behind him. Back then out of Conlon. He gets the legs pumping and takes Canberra to be tackled. 35 metres out, it comes back then out of Hewitt. He charges. He'll play the ball quickly. That's exactly what they want to do, Canberra. It comes back then out of Picker. He offloads a pass away to Medway. Put away there from Simpson. Here comes Canberra. They're on the attack. Back to Herbert. He finds Rutland. Rutland looking for support. He broke free of one. He's got the try line in front of him. He's over the line, but he's held up. Held up.
Great defence from Newcastle there. That's vital in the last couple of minutes of this game. Only a couple of minutes remaining, and they're desperately holding on, the Rebels. Can they get to the other end for 1 point?
2.5 to go on the CRL scoreboard. 1 point ball game. Here's Canberra kicking it into the in-goal area. It's come off Newcastle. It could be play on. It's still the last tackle, I think you'll find. Herbert, or did he restart the tackle count?
No, turnover.
Turnover. Back to Newcastle.
They need to play it quickly, the Rebels. They need to get up the other end, at least inside Canberra territory, to have a shot at a long-range field goal.
Ikanofo.
It will be extra time if we go level at full time.
Gives it back to Gordon. They've got to get up the other end of the field, but we know Newcastle can go the length of the field with any of their players out on the park.
Question is, who's the field goal kicker for Newcastle? We will have golden points, so who's the one likely to take the one if they can get into territory?
I think you'll find it will either come from Briggs or Murray. Here it comes back there now. Here's the kick off the boot of Briggs. He's going to bang it in towards the touchline. Will this be a 40-20?
For him?
No, it won't be a 40-20. Picked up by Tom Rudiger. And Canberra slipping, weaving, jinking.
Still not held.
Herman finally
One-on-one.
wraps up Rudiger. One-on-one tackle. What do we got left on the scoreboard?
Wouldn't be more than about a minute.
This is Jake Wheeler. 25 metres out from the Canberra goal line. 1 minute to go in an absolute thriller between Canberra and Newcastle. Back it comes now to their hooker in Ben Picker. Wrapped up there by Warren Shillings. Slow play the ball for Canberra. They just go from dummy half. 40 seconds left on the clock. This is Josh Ayres. Centre of the park. 30 metres away from the Newcastle goal line. They're going to bang it in a touch and wind down the clock.
Try and run it down if they can. Good option from Canberra. Not long to go now. Only a matter of seconds remaining. We're down to, 20 seconds. So Canberra stopping the clock. Newcastle looking for the referee to stop the clock. He's not going to do it. And Canberra looks like they'll get away with a win here inside the last minute of play.
So
they get the ball in and out.
Only 15 seconds to go.
Long
They're
ball
trying their
crossfield.
luck. This is Ikanofo. He's down the sideline. 10 seconds to go. Newcastle throwing it around. They know that they could be going to the grand final if they go 70 metres. Here they go down the sideline. Great pass back on the inside. Kicked ahead. The siren's going to go in the background. The siren has gone. Canberra go through to the grand final. Newcastle gone. They've been knocked out of the competition. Canberra defeating Newcastle 21 points to 20. What a game of rugby league, especially if you're from Canberra. Newcastle, gallant in defeat. Thought for a moment they might have been able to claw their way back into the match.
That match due to kick off.
But that field goal
Matter of moments.
was the pivotal moment of this match, which has given Canberra the right to go through to grand final day to take on the winner of our next match between Illawarra and the Central Coast. What a thrilling contest. The scores keeping everybody glued to their seat. But Canberra have